Viewers, fans, subscribers out there, I want to welcome you guys back to the next episode succession here in the Space Bridge, the podcast series for the Iacon battle circuit here on PlayStation and on PC. Like you already know the jam, right? It's Rodimus Prime here, the usuals. Today, I wanted to go ahead and take a look into the natural garage of both the fighting game community and a lot of linking and parallel games, interests, and hobbies that a lot of the people in the general community do persist in or partake in order to, fill in time, take away time from practicing, training, and all that stuff that we generally do as being competitive busybodies in order to enjoy the other pastimes that are happening in the gaming realm, as long as the companies and the industries can make the decent game in which to do so. So a lot of the topics we're going to delve into here. Join with me is a fellow gaming analyst and prior podcaster himself. I want to introduce you guys to phdjeshua.
What's going on, folks?
Alright, it's been going good. It's good to have you here on the Iacon thing.
Definitely. Thank you for inviting me.
Always. Heck, last time we had a chance to really sit and talk, I was on your episode series when we were going into AAA industries and the niche industries.
Yes.
Well, I got another one for you today for a couple of things that have been going on in the industry in our own backyard.
Oh, yes. The scene has been quite rustle and a bustle.
Surprisingly, it's been pretty busy while we've been away.
Well, it depends on what you mean away. I never really was away. Just kind of poked my eye in and out.
We're seeing it all. We haven't been talking about it all, but that doesn't mean we still haven't been seeing it all.
Correct.
The first thing here that came in here with regards to a couple of these betas and whatnot, which I thought was a very interesting assessment here as we go ahead and hop into this. So the first one was going into early access people. Ouch. Techers, hey, welcome in. Was going into what Alex the Veil had posted about with people going into early access points for a lot of these video games with betas and alpha testing. In talking about, okay, there should be strict competition embargo with players getting early access from publishers. You can play the game DLC early, quote unquote, for content or feedback, but you should not be eligible for official publisher or affiliate events for 1 year. I understand some players are content creators these days, but there has to be a line drawn somewhere. I wouldn't say a year per se in my own personal starting on that, but I do think there needs to be a specific grace period in order to have a respectable pivot or deviation of the two.
I think a year would be fair, considering most circumstances.
Okay.
I mean, that really varies. Like with 2XKO as one example. Most of the dev teams on that was from the FGC. And
True.
So, I mean, they had prior knowledge to how the game was going to flow and all that. And most of them, I don't think, had access to or are allowed to play. But when you invite people to one of those early closed alpha tests, it typically does give them an advantage to a degree. But that advantage is only going to last so long. But unless you have prior knowledge to when updates are going to happen, but that's not a lot of information that's going to spill out.
So,
but I mean, no, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I'm just reading up on some of these things here because I remember a key example of this was between the INVINCIBLE beta and the updated 2XKO beta before Season 0 concluded, if I remember correctly.
Think so?
I think so. Something else there was something else that was no, before Season 0 started. because Season 0 was like a long ass season. No, it was before Season 0 started. And I'm thinking of Invincible and Avatar that had the updated closed betas. But I think I don't think they should face like a whole year penalty for competition. I think that it could be like that could be like heavily shaved off to probably like a few months or something, or whatever it is that would be within earshot of the general release of the product. And if it's people that are making money or making publicity off of the game, I don't think. I think a week early access should have inaccessibility of like direct comment or input on a direction for like a good while of the access, because not everything of that point is going to be the same as the finishing point on market presentation. A majority of it probably is going to be the same at this point based off of like how a lot of the games in like the past couple of years have been coming out on market roughly exactly like how they looked in their beta presentation, because they've been incomplete games, for a lack of a better speaking.
I mean, looking at 2XKO being a beta test and going into early access, 10 years of development. What went wrong with that on so many levels?
You're not wrong. Like that's an. Well, hang on, let's keep looking at this, and then I do want to get into that because I got to go back to what he was talking about.
But the Avatar, that was a beta you could sign up for, and the next beta for Invincible, that's going to be the April 9th to the 11th. That's open to everybody. So once a lot of the beta tests are open to everybody, there's not really going to be any exclusion of anybody. The only ones that are being excluded are PC due to data miners, because holy crap, when Street Fighter 6 had its online beta tests and all of that, people cracked the damn beta, and you could get a copy of it and start playing it. Not the full version, but you could definitely slip through some of the files and all that, and
yeah,
our developers weren't too happy with that.
That I can kind of understand. Unfortunately, I do kind of get that, and that really sucks. That like this is like one of those rare times where data miners kind of ruined it for the PC continuity, getting in on the ground floor for these betas. And it shouldn't be like that in that perspective, because like data mining should only happen once the game's product is finished, and then you're looking in the backlogs of files in order to probably assess what's going to happen next, like in terms of like DLC or game updates and shit.
I mean, once the game's released, that'll happen, but you know how some folks are, they're going to want to get to the nitty gritty of something just to know. Because that's just how some people are.
They are, because knowledge is a power, and there's some people that just want to know too much because you just want to know.
I mean, but as far as like other people that are like game testing, most of those people, they already have embargoes preventing them from playing anything, any form of tournaments. The Lord, God knows how many times I'm sure Combo Fiend wanted to play, but he's over here just developing games, can't play any.
Okay.
Now, did you want to get into like why I like 2XKO?
Yeah, we can. So hang on. Oh yeah, the Invincible Open Beta is April 9th to April 11th. It starts at 10 a.m. on the 9th, and then it closes, and then I think it's closing or it's wrapping up past 9 a.m. on the 11th.
Yep.
Okay, that'll work. Because I hated the fact that like that and the Avatar shit happened like not that far apart from each other. That one weird weekend where it's like both betas are released at the same time. That's got to be like the crappiest marking ever.
Ends.
I mean, that's one way to get them to choose. So popularity or the first impression actually will seal the deal. Yes, that does work, but very rarely does that work in both people's favor like that.
True.
But yeah, going into 2XKO. Hang on, I gotta see if I can find the one for 2XKO. But did you hear that for 2XKO, they're changing the direction of the game right after Frosty Faustings? Like, no sooner do they get their debut event that puts this shit on the map in February. Boss ass tournament, everything that went right with that event. And then suddenly they want to shift it in another direction. Like, what the hell is wrong with this team? In chat, I'm gonna see if I can find this for you guys.
It is what it is, considering certain things. Because I mean, you have to understand that Riot was expecting certain numbers, and I mean, this game's had in development for 10 years. This is what they have. It's 12. It's like 11 to 12 characters done for Frosty Fausting, and well, you can see why they cut a lot of people. Some people were definitely cut for various reasons. Some others were shifted to other departments. But I mean, you look at 2XKO as a product, it is one of the most niche fighting games out there. It's an act tag fighter.
It kind of is.
The only other one I can think of that was like the first of its kind was Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah.
I think there was another one, but I just can't remember around the top of my head. But I mean, they chose one of the most niche things within a niche. They stuck in so many mechanics that are like in every other fighting game, and then you have freestyle, sidekick, juggernaut, duo assists. And it's like you, and between the 11 characters at the roster, you had like Echo with whoever, Yasuo or someone else, but it's usually Echo and Yasuo. The person that worked one that Frosty Fausting, it was I forget the character's name, but she's kind of a grappler. She places the jar down, which summons the tentacles.
Illari, I think. Alawi.
Illaoi.
I know
Okay,
what you're
thank you.
Motion.
And the dumb setups that Echo can set up, because all he went for is like combo install, throw the ball down, which puts you in a 50-50. Good luck. You have to guess. And then another problem that 2XKO had was, I mean, its naming convention. Why did they stick with 2XKO of all things? This should have been something like it should have been like League Fighter or LOL Fighter, Project L.
It would have made more sense. Called it Project League.
As something.
Something that would have correlated more. That way it just resonates more with the expansion of the IP that creates a better resonation while still being simplistic.
Well, another big problem is you had was excuse me. Was the excuse me. There was no advertisement. Excuse me. There was advertisement, but for whatever reason, there was no advertisement towards actual league players. You had the league community is split into two communities that I know of. It's the people that watched Arcana that got into League of Legends, and you had the OGs that started League of Legends as the game as it is. So you only have 12 champions in this roster of 10 years of development. All of the characters mainly are from the Arcana show. I think they have 2 coming soon that are not from Arcana show.
Yeah, everybody who the characters that were just recently added in there before this checkpoint going into season 2, whenever season 2 happens. The season 0 and season 1's characters both did come from Arcana. That was Warwick and Caitlyn.
Her name's like Charlie or whatever. The sniper chick.
That's what they're putting in now. Akali. Akali and Senna are the new characters that are coming in.
Yeah, they supposedly got leaked, so they're like, screw it, we're going to go ahead and show those. I'm like, okay.
Considering the negative on what happened last we left them, and it was just kind of going in like a really shitty spiral, I think going ahead and confirming the character confirmations was probably like the better silver lining of that week. It was like all this stuff happened in the background that's bad. What's good is, okay, we have these characters here for you, and they're already they're pretty much set to go. My thing I've resented about this game since it got here was the fact of it's got 12 characters now, but when the shit first got here before season 0 was confirmed, was the premise of there being only like 9 to 10 characters on the roster for base launch. I hated that shit. For the fact that this was a tag fighter. If this was a single fighter game, I would probably, while still not like that, I could be okay with that because it's the single fighter premise. But to have barely the bare minimum of that presentation of diversity on this roster going into this, the majority of it already being, or a good percentage of it being big bodies on the roster, I don't like any about this at all.
That's understandable. But I mean, they tried to have their balance, but yeah, that balance of characters, I'm like, that's not going to go so far, folk.
Yeah. Like, where we're at now with 12 characters on roster, if we were here at the beginning of the game, and Caitlyn was the last one announced for base roster, I would be okay with this. It would be like the lowest roster presentation for a tag-based game at launch. When you look at BlazBlue, you look at Hunter x Hunter, you look at vanilla Dragon Ball FighterZ, you look at vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom, but I could accept that. But no, they just had to go the long way around.
Now, and just to speak on the advertisement part, there was advertisement for this game within the FGC. Like, I couldn't escape it. Like, I knew it was coming out. Now, you have people, I think Brian F. talked about them, I forget their name, but they're a big league player, and they didn't even know 2XK was coming out. So I'm like, how did you... What I don't understand, and they invited players to come in and try the game out, in which I understand some people were upset, like these people getting getting early access. But I'm like, some of these people, they're not even going to compete, so it really varies. Some are just going to do it for content creation, which that's fine. But when it comes to only getting FGC players and not reaching out to like Faker or some of the other big players in league, I just don't understand. I'm like, why didn't you do a good mix? Invite some of the pros, invite some of the your biggest content creators, invite. Just, I don't know. I am so confused at the way they did this, because if you would have split it out that way evenly, you definitely would have had a bigger, I would want to put this, a bigger launch of players hopping in, just trying out the game. You would have had better numbers. And then the way they did the like in-game shop, almost like $50 for like almost like for 2 costumes. Like, I don't want to spend $50 for just 2 costumes and a couple of colors.
Exactly. Oh my gosh! Like, did you see that $100 shit for the deluxe edition of the game? This shit was horrendous for all those extra colors and like what 2 or 3 different newer skins that come from the Arcane show that were in there. That shit, that's horrendous. Like, I know they got to make their money one way or another, but that's just one of the downsides in like the marketing presentation of extending a free game, or at least a free Riot game.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah, we're committed to it now.
They're in their whatever range now. So that's just, they're gonna have to deal with it and do it. I tried it out for like 2 weeks. I gave it a fair shake. I have no desire to deal with it anymore.
You didn't like 2XKO's presentation with the combos, or like how how mashy of a game it feels, the netcode?
It's a nice order. It's a nice presentation of everything. I can even pick up stuff, but I'm like, when you're having to use the triggers a lot on certain characters, like just playing on a controller, like Joshua, like one of his combos requires you to do the stance like 3 different times. This is like, this is annoying to me.
You know, for a simple input-y game, that's like a hell of an input for like the same thing to do 2 to 3 different functions based off of the first input you press before you do the stance input. Like, the fuck?
I mean, the simpler something is, the more complicated it is. So,
yeah, but that's the other part of the depth.
They're simple, but there's a great depth to it. But I have no desire to like really dive into it any further than what I did. I mean, I may go back and try it, but I played my fair share of it, and that was enough for me.
I totally feel that.
I don't know what else to say, because they screwed up on their marketing. That's their biggest problem, and like who they invited, and the name. Well, excuse me, and the name of the game itself is what screwed it over. So that's just going to go down in history of just another fighting game that could have been. I mean, it'll last.
It still has a chance. It still has a chance to be. I'm not going to totally dismiss it just yet. I got to get ready to step away in a couple minutes. It's not totally. I wouldn't totally write it off just yet, because eventually it's going to commit to 1 or 2 more things that will or won't piss some people off. Then, at the very least, it has a direction. Because over the past year that this game's been in the consistent spotlight, alongside its actual release, I still don't think they know what the hell type of audience that they want to cater to.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
Because like, you have all the different types of features and functions for your cog system here that cater to every other style of tag game, vaguely or strongly, that existed before this one. That's good. But in terms of what this game is trying to do with all those other mechanics to build off of, what are you trying to cater to? You made this shit simple enough for newbies to get involved in this, or even for league players to get involved in this and come over here and try this shit out. You also made it free accessible for them and for veterans. You have the attempt of the COG system, I guess, to allure veteran tag players to play the game, and based off of either a Fighters, a Skullgirls, a Marvel, or a Blaze Blue background, you have some type of engine functionality in which to thrive off of and build off of here for the team compilation of a 2v2 concept. But where are we going from there?
I believe the game's got like a year or 2 in it, maybe 3, depending on what it was in development and all that jazz. But other than that, I have no idea where it's going.
Well, they still got to get a couple more character archetypes in here for one, that in order to help balance out a lot of this, because this can't just be like rush in, grapple, rush down type shit, and then 1 or 2 characters that are playing their own thing that can kind of have an accomplishing character that will or won't hurt that solo ideology that they have of a play style. They still need to have more characters on roster. As much as the people that are sucking this game off, respectfully, they need to understand that you can't keep catering to the game company. Game company, even if they're making this shit for free, they're still going to be screwing up base things with the game's presentation, which they have been doing. I can be thankful that the game is free, yes, but if you want to keep me here and you want my retention of interest, you need to correct these issues. It's not an issue for you because you're already enjoying something about the game in whatever simplicity that it presented that probably allured you for the time being. That's not the same thing for me, or for you, or for anybody else for that matter.
I also need to work on their shop because there's a costume I wanted to buy for Arya. I couldn't buy it. It was in that weird rotation thing. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to buy that.
Yeah, it's like a Fortnite rotation style type of shit, and I don't like that too much. Like that's Fortnite's thing. That shouldn't have to be this thing here. If they want to do this right here, why can't Riot take a note from like what Valorant or Overwatch do, and where if it came in rotation at least one time, it's now a part of the system registration where you can just buy this on the character when you go to click on the character directly.
And you have to literally wait a couple of days. It's like every 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, where it might rotate in or out or something. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Alright, I will be right back. Let me see, we were last talking about 2XKO. So, and we were talking about the directional shift. So going into the layoffs and then the hours that were cut, and then going next into the release of the characters. So I feel the direction is as I remember I said earlier, something about the lines of it's still trying to figure out exactly like what it wants to cater to, what audience is trying to cater to, specifically to help solidify that direction, which I think that would help a lot in its to have a direction state right now. And so I think in terms of the next event coming up on their roadmap will help determine, I guess, what because they had the sudden hotfix for Yasuo and Echo. So the next big event coming up will help try and determine how much that was able to help with neutering, I guess, the budding top tiers or the budding reliable characters that people were going to be going to in the meta. Because I was going to say, because you can't really worry about like a top 5 or a top 3 in a 12 character game. I mean, it's not really necessary until the roster gets a little bit more filled out. But there are characters that do obviously stand out more than others, absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't know if the new patch has really changed anything. But I mean, people are happy with the patch overall from what I've noticed. Even like my local community, the ones that do play it, I just truly don't know what they can really do, even with all the changes and such.
Yeah, because I mean, like at the end of the day, because I mean, the neutral is there, I guess. There's the main trope that's leading this game, which is rushdown, because it's a very fast-paced game. Health is distributed. Mechanics feel okay. Don't necessarily feel great all the time, but I wouldn't say the mechanics are bad. As all the characters are fun to play in their own right, which is good. That means that it succeeded in doing what they need to do to make sure all the characters are as marketable as possible for their League of Legends counterparts.
Yeah. I mean, looking at what they have coming up with returning costumes and bundles and such, it's just not. I don't know.
They're looking at the
really
money, the money back track right now.
Them trying to get their money back. I don't know. I don't know how much they've invested in this game for over the past 10 years. That I don't know. I kind of wish I had an idea for it.
Same, because that would be a nice one to take a look at. Because I'm just like, the money that they're missing out right now is like very minuscule compared to easily thousands of tens of thousands of dollars that they've missed out before concretely just give the shit a name and put it out on the market.
Let's see. What is her name? Akia? That's the
Ari?
ninja character coming out. I know she's getting a Blood Moon skin and an exclusive pin when you register for Evo Japan.
Oh, I was just looking at her. Akali, I think is who you're.
Excuse me, Akali. I don't know why that L looked like an eye. Excuse me. But let's see, they're getting 60 plus K prize pool, and duos are getting. Oh, there's a duo bounty for 5K. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, I see the Blood Moon skin here. I see the Blood Moon skin here for Echo. I see something here for Yasuo. Okay, that kind of sells me as a wannabe Yasuo player. That kind of sells me a little bit. Yeah, I see a couple of Gooner posts already over here. I'm gonna leave that shit alone. And participation prizing. Oh yeah, this is like what, a 60K prize for that in Evo Japan.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
Riot. I know they've set aside a lot of money for a lot of tournaments. So, as far as I know, once all the money they've allotted to all these tournaments and everything, that's as far as I think the game's going to go. Like, what was it? Their card game lasted like 2 to 3 years. Not the Riftbound one, the other one.
And you see, I didn't even know it had a card game.
Yeah, Riftbound's a physical one they just started. Good luck buying a box on the secondary market. They're going to charge you a buttload of them. I had a coworker that got lucky.
This year or last year?
It's for this year. I had a coworker that got lucky on the lottery system they had, so he was able to buy a box for like $120. So, and then some of the cards that if you get a signed one or whatnot, those things are astronomically expensive on the secondary market.
The one thing I noticed it didn't nerf was the damn damage for supers. That's the shit that really needed to go. Like for when they do their big ultimate, like level 1s and whatnot, those supers are all fine and they're scaling, but the ult damage, that damn near just kills you raw.
Depends if it's counter hit or not. Then again, plus whatever you start off the combo into varies as well.
Yeah, but I see people just throwing that shit out raw, and it just does too much damage as a raw thing. It just needs to be scaled more for throwing it out, not with a combo. I know for me, that's just difficult to enjoy the game when people can just randomly just do that as a mash option. And when you go to poke, there is no invul frame here, which means I should win or disrupt the startup, and it still goes through, and then you still die for it, even when you're damn near at full health. And I'm just like, okay, video game.
That's going to be the way. That's how they designed it. So
that is how they designed it. I'm not gonna get mad. This is exactly what I am playing. I didn't pay to play this. I came in for free knowing this was exactly what it is. That's the way that it is.
Yep.
And then, let me see here. Going into our next thing here, there was a friend of mine that's that's in my following from time to time. She made this very interesting post that was in response to there's a couple of posts here. That was in response to the way and like the grassroots ideology of how people go to participate in events. I'm trying to see if I can find the original post that she had this on, but she was just like, okay, there's just this thing about y'all entering the online local just because it has a pop bonus is just mad corny, by the way. It's a good bit of unusual names here that barely or rarely ever support the bracket or the stream, but I can understand to go ahead and get the money. And there's people that also respond to this, such as like another TO in here, one of my friends, Valor, that commented in here about, okay, this is part of how tournament works, to some idea. But again, supporting different scenes, and then again, I hope to see more support for all the brackets with and without the need of money. That way we don't lose the small shit that we have left in a lot of these areas. I don't really like the way that Valor actually came at her in the second piece of this, because it feels like, okay, I wouldn't be promoting an event. I want to succeed by shutting out the people that are joining, but that's just me. I wouldn't. You can ridicule everyone for entering. That'll surely get them to come back and enter future events. Yes and no. And then others in the comment section here go down the avenue of reasons why they didn't join or why they haven't joined up to now. And I just don't agree with the excuse outline here. I understand that, okay, a lot of players will only play if they think the prize pool is worth their time to a degree, and you don't expect a massive turnout just because. In some instances. In other instances, there's other areas here that accumulate to weight or investment or name brand that, by the law of attraction, do naturally resonate to create that magnetism that just draws people in no matter who the hell you are. You could be a piece of shit for all you know, but if you have an ideal name or a known name, that will just naturally just magnetize people towards the event, be it as a lurker or as a participant, regardless of there being a natural incentive to match your Reno.
Yeah, it depends on who you have in the tournament bracket as well. You could have some people. Let's see, let's throw it out there. Low tier god in there just for controversy's sake, because people enter just to beat him just for the bragging rights alone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it when it comes to like local and online tournaments, it really varies in your area. Some people are lucky to have anything. Some people, that's all they have is online, and they pray and hope that the online is good in their area, because some people, like, they could be, I think it was last year I learned about Africa had quite the Mortal Kombat scene, but I mean, due to obvious not like a ton of infrastructure over there for certain countries, you wouldn't know unless you saw like recordings that I saw. I'm trying to remember who showed me that. Damn, I can't remember now. But I mean, honestly, there are so many. We'll see. I think Street Fighter V was a good example. Ending Walker, young as he was tearing apart people with Ed of all characters.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw how far he got all the way into Street Fighter 6, and now we have Blah, who's done really well with like Ryu, Sagat, and he's from Chile. There's another guy, another kid. I forget his name. He's like 16 years old.
No, the Prodigy.
What was he? Who was he? 15 or 16? I mean, Laws is Prodigy too. I'm just trying to remember. This kid's a little bit younger. Damn, how old? I think he's from China. Someone can correct me if can correct me in the comments. But I mean, he did really well.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, as like the bracket I saw for the Capcom Pro Tour, because you either paid to view it or you had to sit in the damn battle hub to see it for free. But that didn't go over so well. People got kicked out, some people didn't. But back on the subject, I mean, again, online is a great option for people, but when you get to like the big tournament, offline is definitely a different
It's a different breed in its
battleground
own way. Yes.
because you're not going to have that delay to worry about depending on the setup where you're at. If it's PS5 or PC, it may vary. So that's something you will have to adjust to on the fly.
Yeah, there is a difference in convenience, difference in setup. It's still the same. It's still the same sense and structure and organization in the gathering premise. Instead of there being it would just be a Discord server instead of there being a locality.
So I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell people what not to do, but I mean, if the only option you have is to go into Start GG and play on tournaments that way, go for it. Now, I will say one more thing about 2XKO structurally, forcing you into like what Street Fighter 6 has, the Battle Hub, strictly forcing that onto people instead of like, okay, let me queue up in training mode to go into online matches. You have to queue up to go into a stupid lobby just to play ranked or casual player matches. That adds extra resources your system has to load. Not fun to do that. But anyway, that's just a mild gripe for that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, and one other thing about the Capcom Pro Tour, I think it was Sonic Soul. The dummy was watching it on stream, and he only did it on Twitch. He didn't do it on YouTube, because if he did it on YouTube, they would have probably struck his account. He would have had a permanent mark there. But he got suspended on Twitch because he had his very reflective sunglasses, and Capcom was not playing ball with that.
Oh damn! He's not an ordinary dude. That's kind of a big dude that is streaming your thing without permission.
Oh, he paid for it. He's like, hey, everybody else, watch for my glasses. It's like, that's like bringing a camcorder to the movie. It's like, no, once you gonna get busted, you gonna get busted.
Basically.
That's just my thoughts on that whole little situation overall. But I mean, it's up to people. I don't see why some people are getting mad at others for wanting to join in a tournament if it's only for money. If that's all they're after, that's on them. If it's for the love of the game, it's for the love of the game.
Yeah. And then one of them that was here, because I get what some of the responses are here, but the responses aren't looking at the bigger picture on like why, like morally, you're still doing your job, but there is still a petty pivot with this that I understand is here, but people don't see this because you're looking at the aspect of the event is here, people are playing for money. You're not seeing the picture of any other time people are here. This is very difficult to get off the ground, where you basically blew a day in order to get this going for barely 8 people to probably pull up, and then you have dozens of others that pull up after the fact of days, weeks of advertisement that's suddenly like, oh, I didn't know this was going on. I could have been here. Oh, this was going on. I could actually pull up. And it's like, where the fuck is all this communications and shit at? Throughout this whole time, you're online, I'm here, you're in my server, you're in my following, you see this shit on the feed, I guess. Like, no, that's that type of stuff that irks me a lot in trying to be happy. I can be content, but I can't be happy knowing that I'm well aware that people just refuse to do better by their own accord. In the sense of just simple supporting your scenes, so that way this shit stays here. You only support the scene when there is a worth to it. It should be worth the fact that it's even here, just like my time is worth my money to me. Time is money. To other people, not everybody sees it that way. They just see money as money and time as time. They don't understand that time is very precious.
time's the most valuable thing we'll ever have. Money is just a tool at the end of the day.
Right.
But that's just my perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thrown money at not. I've thrown a few bucks here and there into the matcherinos when I can, and look, that's just kind of whatever. I actually went out and like bought equipment we actually needed, and I don't care if they know if I did it or not. Hell, I bought the main TO a little mini PC so he could actually have something to worthwhile to play games on, and it still works. It's still going well for him. It's always a hit or miss when you buy those little mini PCs. Things terrify me sometimes, but for $250, it's going great. It's gonna, I think, at a Ryzen 7, 32 gigs on it. It's pretty nice overall.
Yeah. But let's see.
But I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, you can finish up what you were saying. I was just gonna say what one of the like another response I was hearing what they said, which I understand why they said it like this, but they don't see the other issue here because it's not their problem yet.
That's just how some people are. If their thing is just we sort of to set the timeline straight. Earlier this month, I stepped away from being a TO. Basically retired. I may go back later on, but I'd rather concentrate on being a player.
I get you.
But where I'm at, there's always been the difficulty of like where I'm at. Georgia is one of the main hubs for Tekken still, regardless of like the current state of the Tekken community in the game. We always had like, obviously the people I play with, they're okay. Most are intermediate. Some have been on the top 8 stage in some areas, but most of us have the potential, but it's like just putting in the actual practice. And when I mean practice, like I mean putting in the actual effort. You don't need a ton of training, but it's being meaningful with your training. Like how useful are you being with that time? And when the Atlanta crew comes down, they'll mollywop a lot of people. But then there's some of the older games. I won't say who it is, but we've got some old Marvel 2 heads have come through that live locally. Man, you do not try to outplay them in their own game. They will mollywop you with a top tier team in NBC2 and not think about it twice.
Ooh, so see, it's a touchy thing in other places too, where you just can't stand somebody else being nicer than you with your own character.
I mean, if you put up money for a money match and someone's beating you pretty badly, it's like, I'm gonna have to hunker down. So it's
in a money match, all bets are off. Don't get me wrong. In a money match, all bets are off. That's like free range. You can play what you want, but then as soon as we switch to top tier, you need to match this, otherwise I win. I totally understand that. That is that type of energy in a money match, friendly or competitive or otherwise.
And the way it works within the FGC with some of the older players now, newer players don't like this as much. It's, well, the way some people are, I'm only here for the money, that's it. Some here for the love of the game. But when it comes to certain things, and I'm air quoting this, respect, if you want that respect, you have to beat the other person. It's not like, oh, all right, got a few rounds. Like, no, you need to like 5-0 them or 10-0 them to really earn that respect and put them in that place to respect you. Then again, they may not. They may never. But to go back more on like the communication part of what you're saying, there are some issues I've seen amongst TOs. You have to sometimes work with people you may not like, period.
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing is communication. That's one of the biggest problems I've seen a lot of what I've and personally and stuff I've done and outside of it. I've seen some TOs. I've seen one guy, he'll clam up, not say another word to another TO. And I'm like, my guy, you have to, if this is all volunteer work, by the way, I don't care if you hate the dude's guts. If you're going to have to work together, put your differences aside and do it for the community. If you're going to be community oriented, there are times you are not going to agree with people on stuff that's outside of fighting games. But some people will let their differences of moral standings overweigh what that needs to be done for the greater whole. But that's just something I've seen go back and forth in the bigger part of the communities, in any community, especially within the FGC. Because if you're not a part of a certain clique, you're no longer wanted. And it's just like, good grief.
Yeah.
And it just throws me for a loop still how sometimes some people that do some of these major tournaments, I don't know how they are still doing this and not have gone nuts. Like Jabali and the Hado.
And Tong.
Because my God, after was the final round 20, Jim Blanca just like put his hands up and was like, all right, it's enough. Some of the older tournament series, they could only break even. I still don't know how some of these other tournaments they break even or make something. They have to make some money, but they're preying on basically sponsors to be there. But now, since overall now that Evo's is obtained by Saudi Arabia based, or Qiddiya Gaming will go with, there's going to be an actually, let me double check this, because I think Evo said there was going to be another one, or it was.
Oh yeah, Evo going into 2026. There's several Evos now. There's not just one. There's like good 6 or 7 different ones now.
Oh no, there's 9 places now.
But
Between now and 2030, there's going to be at least 9 spots. So my assumption is, long story short, they're all going to be part of one giant circuit.
Kind of makes sense.
And then the Esports World Cup is just basically, that's the format they're going to use for that the final slot. But I mean, you're going to have the Capcom Pro Tour, the Tekken World Tour, the Arc Systems World Tour. They're all going to follow basically the Evo schedule. They now control the flow of the tournament. And while I'm thinking about this, I believe it was the Capcom Pro Tour that just announced this. And I believe it was Chile. That was another spot that was announced for the CPT. I believe it was the Capcom Pro Tour. I'll have to double check. Yep, it was Chile. Chile is now going to be it's going to be a region for the World Warrior program for the 2026 CPT. Details will be in April, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, about to say, that's definitely coming up in the next couple months.
Next month. And so that makes it 25 regions for World Warriors. Oh boy. Ooh.
Okay, that'll be it's pretty inclusive of a whole region.
I mean, 25 regions, you're going to have, that's at least 25 players.
At minimum.
Depending on online qualifiers.
Okay.
There's going to be a packed schedule for communities to really work themselves. Because what was it? Capcom Pro Tour 10? Uma basically came out of nowhere, won that last chance qualifier. And I mean, the stars were aligned for him to basically win. He won, took the money, walked away. I'm like, I don't blame the guy. He probably doesn't have to work another day in his life, but he's smart. He'll invest it correctly and not give it all the way to his favorite VTuber, hopefully.
Yeah. Let's see what it is that Sir Kappa has here. See, whether it's 10 people or 100 people, people are allowed to use their time how they see fit. I doubt it was malicious, but it low-key rubbed me the wrong way. We're not owed entrance as TOs, even if some days we don't have enough people. We do thankless work because we want to support the scene, because we love this scene. Calling people corny for feeling incentivized to compete for money is no conductive to the mentality needed to support the scene. I've had days where I've only had 7 people show up for bracket, but I still run the show and put on an event because people want to compete. Humility goes a long way, and genuine love for the craft goes even further. I think that this mentality, while not necessarily the worst to have, is harmful to the growth of the FGC as a whole. With the people just because or for only the money, the question still stands: why do we invest our time to running a bracket in the first place? This has the same type of damage as people shitting on other people for their achievements. Let's not start pointing fingers at people for shit like this, because it shouldn't affect our ability as TOs to put on an event we think we can do. We're here for the scene, we're here to give these players a place to play, and we're giving our audiences something to enjoy. We're better than this.
Yeah, but you know how people are. They're not going to. Being a TO is a thankless job. Will always be a thankless job.
It will.
The average player will not care, but at the end of the day, it will either still be there or not be there, and then the players will wonder why. What happened? Like, well, you were kind of insulting to the people that were literally keeping the thing all together. What do you think was going to happen, you goober?
Yeah, but people don't realize that until the time comes when you're supposed to matter. Then suddenly that's supposed to matter.
And then when you have nowhere left to go, you've only got online as an option. So it'll either be too little, too late.
Yeah, and then you got to deal with the whole other avenue that online brings. So, good luck, buddy.
And shout outs to like Tampa Never Sleeps.
That's the kings of
Those
online.
tournaments
Between them and Paragon, oh shit, they run that shit like clockwork, with enduring like so many different online pitfalls.
They have to.
And then let me send the message that I sent her on Instagram. I did a light retweet of it over here, because I know if I say something earlier again with something like this regard, then a following or some following that I don't know or don't care about is going to suddenly flame me, and then I have to deal with that shit again from another community. So, as much as I already know there's a lot I wanted to say on this shit then, I held my tongue respectfully for the light of imagery. Gotta take one for the team type shit. But what I said...
Sometimes. Go ahead.
Oh, no, as you were saying?
I was going to say, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you really do have to hold your tongue. Even holding your tongue, though, God, doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's better to say it aloud.
Yeah, but what I sent to her was, hey, it's Rod, I agree with that take that you posted. Too well, actually. I can't openly say it again as a TO, but as a competitor, it's always that. It's literally that. Always, in certain scenes, you can break down the hypocrisy in people's actions who claim to support their scenes, but in reality, they support the scenes with stable money or fiscal investment that are or that have proved generally at this time they can be a source, versus hosts that have the community's best interest in mind more than a pocket lining in mind. Yes, Matcherino is important, sure, but that shit's not cheap. Yet you can't ever get the ignorance of scenes to understand that general fact. It's not needed to move a dial, no. But the counter option that's easier to hosting is made harder by these same scenes because of the standard of an incentive that suddenly makes them move. Not what the virtue signaled. You see how it kind of flips the script. Because it's depending upon the size of the host or the person doing it, be it for whatever game it's going to be. It could be Tag, could be Street Fighter, could be Fighters, could be Grand Blue, could be a Mortal Kombat thing, it could be Grand Blue. It depends on how big the person is or how relevant the chances are the event or tourney could be successful to the timeline of players, the timeline of other people that have bigger IPs to the same game, and platform relevance. In some instances where people just don't know because information isn't grasped by everyone no matter what you do. Rare, but this is also common in some people's followings. That said, a lot of people we know commonly don't know or don't care unless it's someone that they're fucking with as a norm, like a bestie or some buckle buddy bullshit that may say something or won't say something to secure the bag if they think it's free cash. Which it may be, it may not be, at the cost of the scene taking a blow, wanting to make a series out of being a regular weekly event.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of reasons why events have complications, natural or otherwise. This is just a unfortunately dumbass common one that no one ever wants to know the answer for, because my pockets are always in jeopardy wanting to know that answer. That's pretty much what I said at the time. Because it's a constant recurring question where the answer will or will not always affect one's pockets in the process of knowing.
I mean, it's the same with most of the older questions. New game comes in, new game bad, or new game bad, old game good. Like, so every time a new Tekken or Street Fighter comes out, it's like same old question, same old answers. Stop. But I mean, when it comes to all the tournaments, such, it'll always be a thankless job, and people don't understand. You really have to have money to put into this, but at the end of the day, you have to have a flow of money coming in, and most people don't understand that. And most of these local scenes don't have that type of thing. Like, it's crazy how, like, Tampa Never Sleeps, and like, what was it? The next level battle circuit Spooky was doing quite some time, was doing that for a long time.
I miss Spooky so much, Shesh. Like, I can't even tell you how much I miss Victor. I valued those things every day he hosted for those.
God knows how many times I would go get out of work Wednesday night. I'd just sit there and just watch Street Fighter 4 tournament runs, learn what I could. But I mean, he's doing something offline now.
He is. NLBC is still going. It's going offline now every other week. It's a bi-weekly now for select titles.
I think it's still at. See, I think it's still at not Ultra Chin. Yeah, Ultra Chin's place. I might be wrong. I'd have to. I'm going to double check here. Because he announced that. Let's see, offline. It'll be. Funky P's doing it. Oh, well. Oh, that's silly. And then 10O Media is helping with it too. Okay. Oh, what a punk. No, that's not punk. What's that? Who's that? Huh. Yeah, see, there's DIY. Okay, no, it's Intercontinental Fight Club offline. Okay. And I guess they're just going to be doing, are they just putting up videos online?
For,
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. They're supporting stuff, so I see what they're doing. It'll be very interesting to see what else they do. Good luck to them and all that. Supporting.
for sure. But that was definitely something I wanted to try and take a note and putting a light towards. because this is like it's a background common issue that people don't talk about for whatever reasoning consistently until it affects you. When this could just kind of be generalized, that way it can stop the issue from recurring. The problem that stops it from being a lighted issue and not a shadowed issue is because not everybody views that as a problem. That people don't view the issue of I'm only supporting you if you have something for my pockets as a problem most of the time in a grassrooted ideology scene or placement where being here for the scene should be just as valuable as being here for the money. It's the fact that it is here in general.
Yeah, you know how it is. There's some people, if it's nothing there's nothing in for them, nothing for them in it, they won't do it. And sadly, but that's just how some people are.
It is.
It is a tough lesson, tough lesson that is going to have to be learned.
It is. It doesn't mean there's still going to be people out there that's not going to stop calling it out. I mean, people can think that it's bad or hang on. What did he say over here in this thing here? Practicing humility. People can do that. What did he call this was? Invest our time. It's harmful. This mentality of being harmful to the FGC. I don't think the mentality of calling people out on hypocritical investment practices is necessarily a bad or evil aspect of humility. That's something normal in order to make sure that people don't practice hypocrisy. They can actually practice what they preach. They can be honest about what they will and won't support. I would like for someone to at least tell me, hey, I'm not really going to be coming here as much anymore, and I'm probably going to be going to this place more than coming here because okay, there's better players over there or there's more money over there consistently. A person like me, while that hurts, I would love this guy forever for respecting me enough to tell me that, then lie to me by pretending to support the scene or getting my information out there for my scenes or for my platform to help me grow, and you're just not doing this every time. You say you will, but you won't. I would prefer that type of bluntness than a toxic positivity pivot where you're not wanting to leave because you feel like I can't handle the truth. Something to that regard is where I was going. If that makes sense.
It does. But we'll just see how people take it.
We will. And then the last thing I wanted to go into was what is it here? The understanding for what the Grand Theft Auto release being pushed back again. Yeah, they talked about this a ways back, but they were talking about the Grand Theft Auto 6 being unsure if it'll make the deadline again by November 2026. Because the content of the game still isn't complete. Developers were still finalizing missions and specific places of interest and making cuts for the final game, which means that there may or may not be DLC relevancy for what they did cut out. And then, Rockstar would rather let the game kind of slip up on the date than release in incomplete state, which I totally agree with.
Was that last comment?
No, I said that they would rather let the date. Rockstar would rather let the release date slip away than release it in an incomplete state, which I'm totally on board with. So if you end up having to delay it again, then okay, let it happen. All I'm saying is, as much as you want to keep the marketing for the game relevant because it's GTA 6, just promote the shit when it's done. That's all any gamer or any game community wants for the product that they're going to go to. Is it done?
Oh, they've put $2 billion into this thing. It's supposed to come out in November. This game is going to cost. It's either going to cause games to go up in price to $100, which is going to be ridiculous, so many levels, and or they're going to push it back again. But they've already put $2 billion into that game, so they're going to release it this year. Now, whether it's going to be the next, is it going to take off like that online did for GTA 5? I have no idea. They're banking on way too much, in my opinion.
Now, what they need to make sure is to make sure it doesn't end up like if it's going to be that incomplete, or if it's still not incomplete and they're going to push it out anyways until it gets certified. This could end up being another Cyberpunk situation. Because Cyberpunk, that game got here beautiful dog shit launch week. It damn near did not recover.
Well, it got better. I give them that. They put in the effort.
They did. But unfortunately, that first impression was just there for a majority. There's the minority that's still stuck with the game because this is what they wanted to buy. And I commend them for that in going alongside this journey with the game, just like people with No Man's Sky stuck alongside for the journey for that video game. I commend them for it. But they got to understand that it didn't have the best start in order to try to have the better end of the current story. Here for GTA, the problem with GTA is because unlike those two titles are of an example of a really bad start but in an okay spot now, is because GTA 6 is in an area of expectancy across the world. This is like one of those weirdly like needed AAA titles where it just kind of like defines the subtle slice of life points for a gaming generation. GTA 5 kind of did the 1-2 skip a few by just being reported for 2 generations.
God, how many copies of GTA 5 sold? God, I can't remember now.
Well, let's look it up. Hang on. How many copies of GTA? Copies of GTA 5 sold.
I'll be right back.
Okay, and on that note, 215 million units. But like I was saying, the normal amount of copies that sold for GTA 5 was 215 million units worldwide.
That is over 10 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
As of August 2025, that's the records currently. It's 215 million units.
Whew. That's a lot.
Very. So you talk about hella replay value.
Well, that GT Online, GTA freaking servers or role-playing servers. There's just so many things that just it turned into a social hub. And I don't think they were intending for that to happen, but I mean, when it happened, it's like, all right, moneymaker time, shark cards everywhere, online heists and everything for everybody. And it's still going strong.
Yeah, it allows for a mass amount of role playing. Mods also help with this along. Like, you can almost make anything in like how you want to do that get rich quick scheme or the ride or die with your homies and friends online. Like, GTA fills in so much creativity in its lane that it's a surprise, but it's also kind of no wonder that it was able to transcend its generation in order to still keep going. It's a shock that it actually was able to go into 2 to 3 generations, unironically, for the same game. Keep in mind, chat, this was a PS3 game that then became ported as a PS4 game.
It was it was a PS5 or PS4 game, not a PS3 game.
I could have sworn GTA 5 was a PS3 game.
4 was.
4 was definitely. Hang on, let me look this up. GTA 5. I know it was an Xbox 360 game. GTA 5 was on PS3. It's a part of PlayStation Greatest Hits. Yeah, it was on PlayStation 3, and then it got ported to PlayStation 4, and then it got remastered again in PS5's collections. So it's like one of the few games that was able to see 2 generations worth of its investment. It come full circle yet again, and it's still doing it.
Actually, hold on.
So 6 has a hell of a big shoes to fill.
3 generations.
Yeah, 3 generations.
It's kind of nuts.
It is. I honestly want to believe that that's the only game in the history of the gaming market that was able to successfully do that.
It was definitely lightning struck, but you're trying to capture that again. Well, good luck.
That's what I'm saying. GTA 6 has a hella big shoes to fill by GTA 5. And right now, it's already not looking good because we just have to make sure the thing gets here in one piece.
Good luck to it. I'm not. I haven't played GTA since like 4, so it's good luck to them.
GTA.
I wish. I hope that game is what the GTA community wants it to be. I truly hope so.
That's what I'm hoping on. Because, like, for me, I've never outside the only GTA game I've ever played, I think, was Vice City and like a little bit of Liberty Life Stories. But I never really played like that much of it because I just never had an appetite for what the game was trying to offer me. I wasn't that type of a gamer. But someone's in my party, they play that and they pop it up on the screen and want me to watch it. I watch them do like a whole mission or whatnot, and just watch them play GTA the whole time I'm sitting there doing my own thing, be it a Rainbow Six Siege or My Hero Ultra Rumble or Overwatch or Rivals or some shit, and I'm just watching GTA over on the side, just watching some people just get laid out, or watching a creative get-rich-quick scheme with the mix.
Understandable. It's definitely fun watching some people play certain games. Just depends on what it is.
Yeah. So let me go into what it is they talked about here from Dextero's thing here about GTA Insider. So when GTA 6 was officially unveiled back in December 2023, it came with a 2025 release window. Since then, it's been delayed twice. Once to May 26, 2026, and most recently to November 19th, 2026. Despite being 11 months out from the new target, industry insider Jason Schreier is already fearing another slip. According to his intel, having allegedly spoken with developers close to the project, GTA 6 still isn't content complete, meaning missions are being worked on and new features may still be added. As a result, Schreier claimed it's nearly impossible to gauge whether they'll hit the November 2026 deadline date at this stage of the game's present work. I don't think anyone at Rockstar could tell you with 100% certainty, he said on the Button Mash podcast. Speaking on the Button Mash podcast on Spotify, Schreier was looking ahead at what's in store throughout 2026. Obviously the biggest game of them all, which GTA 6 looms overhead. However, he reveals the new details from chatter which Rockstar Games staffing had alleged. The last thing he heard, and I quote, was that it's still not content complete. People are still trying to finalize levels and see what's going to make it into the game that isn't going to be separated into DLC. They're also still making stuff and will hopefully be done with that soon to have a whole bunch of time to then fix bugs in the game. That way the game doesn't release with extra things to worry about. This goes against what the other insiders have claimed in supposition about the product, so you do have to take the comments with a grain of salt. A game of this magnitude, with projections forecasting it as the single biggest entertainment product launch in history, it simply has to be in tip-top condition, as Schreier asserted. The stakes are really high here. They can't settle for anything less than perfection, unfortunately. It's not something that they would release in any compromised state. As such, with work ongoing, it's unclear whether Rockstar will be able to hit the planned November deadline, or will this slip back into a 2027 date instead. This isn't an official report, so you also do need to take the comments with a grain of salt, but they do come from the most credible game journalists that have all also had a chance to talk with representatives of the company past and those working on current projects now with it, who had previously covered GTA 6 with complete flawless accuracy. If I had to guess based off of like where they're at in a comfort level with the game, I would really think that if they don't push the deadline back by then, I feel like at least 80% of the game is confidently done. And I still think that bugs will persist.
There will be bugs on launch. It's just you don't want like the freaking obvious, like I barely walk through a corridor and fall through the ground type stuff, or something like I hit a weird button combination and send a character flying up through the air and nobody can bring them back down. You want to, I mean, there will be some bugs that you have some certain acceptable bugs within a certain range, even with all the QA testing. Some people don't even QA test, I swear, or they use a terrible company for QA testing. And this article is by Jason Schreier, and blind squirrel will find a nut once in a blue moon, or once in a while. I don't like the way he operates, considering the way he uses insider information. That's just me with him being the way he is. Still a good journalist. I want to when he does good work.
Fair.
So, but here's the thing with the most, like, we'll use 2XKO as an example. If there's no clear creative guideline that you're going with, you're just going to have a mesh of something and hope it works. If they don't have it, if Rockstar doesn't have a clear vision for the game that they want to put out, there will be a problem. They're putting in a lot of stuff from what I've read. You like back in, what was it, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
Mm-hmm.
You could like gain weight, lose weight. There's a bunch of stuff like that in there.
Talk about niche little things.
If that's true. But if they don't have a clear vision for what they want, this game will launch correctly. I mean, it'll launch, but it will be the vision they wanted. Because I don't know how many employees they put into this to work on this. I know they put in like over $2 billion. And it's like we'll use another example, Battlefield 6.
Yes. That was another example.
But it took, what, 5-6 studios to make the game? When back in the day, it only took like one studio to make a good Battlefield game. And the guy that had to coordinate 5 studios was one of the people that did one of the original, it was either Call of Duty 4 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, or that worked at Infinity Ward back in the day. I mean, without him, there'd be a bunch of chickens with their head cut off trying to put something together. But I mean, it still boils down to, do they have the vision they want for this game? And I will say this, when it comes to game development, I do know a little bit. But I mean, when it comes down to making any type of product, you can keep working on it till you feel it's right, or you just put it out there. If they need to delay it by another year, they should delay it by another year. But when you have shareholders to answer to,
you have to do what you have to do at that point. Otherwise, you lose that funding to continue doing the prolonging.
And you've already, I don't even know how many years this game's been in development. Probably at least.
Actually, hang on, chat.
7, 8.
Let's see, when was it first? Wait, hang on. Let me look back and say, when was it first announced? Because if it's when it was first announced, let's assume that it was like in development for at least the 2 or 3 years prior. GTA 5's release was September 2013. Keep that in mind. GTA
So at least 13 years in development, maybe longer, less.
GTA 6, the first GTA trailer was released December 4th, 2023. So September 2013 to December 2023 when GTA 6 was first officially put on the map psychologically. So let's assume 2013, and then that game had a decent amount of longevity going into next gen. Let's assume right at the start of COVID, 2019-2020 was when underground wise, GTA 6 was in development by Rocksteady. So let's assume a good 5 years. Let's assume five years was already devoted to getting this game set in order to follow GTA 5. 5 going on 6 years now. If that's the case, how much bigger is this trying to be in terms of content before you start pushing the DLC? Because like you could get everything done to a decent amount to tell the story from this is from the female's perspective that they're going at. For telling the story from a woman's perspective as opposed to telling it from a man's perspective and doing all the same stuff that you can do in order to run the game, run the market, in order to make money or make a living. So how much comparable details or how different is it going to be than telling the regular story that's been told generation after generation from a man's perspective? And how would that already affect? How would that shouldn't affect the general market? I would think that much. Or are they trying to put too much detail into like side things that kind of add detail in world building for trying to tell the series' first female protagonist? Because they're trying to do like a Bonnie and Clyde inspired criminal duo thing here. So I imagine that there's going to be a lot of side quests as opposed to like a lot of in-depth for core missions. So I would imagine by now the core missions and everything would have already been written out and seen to in the product.
See, hopefully the story is written well for them to have both perspectives. Because I mean, you had not Resident Evil. I don't know why I said almost Resident Evil.
You're
You
good.
had GTA 5 with 3 different stories, and all 3 were well done. It's just, can the writers keep it up?
And that's what worries me is that if there's been a shift in the company or layoffs at Rocksteady Studios, that would affect both quality, that could affect pacing, that could affect consistency points. Because not everybody is going to be having the same vision as the next team unless they were all a part of the same production team and we're all on the same page writing this part of the story or this part of the script or the board. That's my concern. That's my background concern. Is the production team the same after all the past few years that's going to be finishing this before we get to once it's finished? Then that's when I see some inconsistencies for DLC and whatnot, and that's fine because that's DLC.
I think a majority of the people that have been there working there are still there. It's just, will they be let go afterwards if the game doesn't meet the actual numbers they're wanting, because they put in like $2 billion into this. What's the sale price of the game going to be? Is it going to meet the numbers they want it to meet? That's why I don't like certain things. They have these ridiculous long schedules and inflated budgets.
Yeah, and that's what kind of worries me. I really want to call it in advance that if this game doesn't meet it's going to sell a good million. Even if it comes out garbage, it's going to sell 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 within the month. I can already see that now just because of the long expectation of everybody in the world that has touched a Grand Theft Auto will be on this game.
Here's my prediction. This is just me. Like with Resident Evil 6, it's one of the best selling Resident Evils for quite some time.
That was before Village, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's before Resident Evil 7.
yeah.
But it was really bad because of how the storytelling was and all that. They were doing too much. That was its problem. But they went back with Resident Evil 7, new engine, completely customized, concentrated on the story itself and how they wanted to present it. But I feel GTA 6 is trying to do too much. But it really just depends on the players and what is the price of that game going to be. Is it going to be $100? Because people are already having enough hard time struggling to like pay for certain things.
I also call that in advance now. I really get the feeling that's just going to be a flat 100. I really do.
I hope not. I hope it's only 70.
I barely even I don't even want it to be that shit. But if I got to pick the lesser of two poisons, if it got to be lesser of two poisons, then yeah, go ahead and just have it be 70. But they also have to count for tariffs. So is that extra tax and nickel and diming is where they got to come from in the market in order to try and break even.
Well, it depends. If they do regional pricing, it'll be fine. That's one thing a lot of places need to do is regional pricing, but we'll see how that goes.
That would be nice to incorporate that.
A lot of indie developers do that, and they make so much more money that way
than just flat fee.
Yep.
Well, here's hoping that the next update about GTA 6 will steer us in a more productive direction. Just like that dude getting his boat back.
Oh, who? Damn.
Insert
the guy owns Valve.
I think so. Insert thing right here. There's I know I have it saved in my bookmarks. Like it was literally it was a mission of a boat that my friend told me about that he lost it during the main thing, and then he got his boat back somewhere along the line.
Oh, in the game? I was about to say, like you're talking about like Gabe, like yeah, he bought a new boat.
It's been 11 fucking years! 11 years! I finally got my boat back! My boat!
You can lose a lot of stuff in GTA Online if you're not careful.
In what way?
It's just the way the heists go when you do stuff like that.
Damn. Wait, you lose? Well, you don't lose real in-game. You don't lose in-game money, do you?
Yeah, you do lose in-game money.
Oh, so there's actual risk and reward for that type of life.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Now that explains why it's popular in a couple different ways.
Oh yeah.
So it's not just the old days of last generation where you can kind of just do whatever and then you kind of get whatever, then you're sitting stocked up on money. So if you do fuck up, then you do actually got to take a loss. Interesting. Okay, not gonna lie, Chad. This is actually, while we're doing this pivot, it might actually make me delve into GTA to pass the time to figure out what it is about.
Good luck, friend.
I might need it.
You're going to be playing that online.
I think that pretty much covers everything in terms of what it is that we wanted to sit and talk about here tonight. So I appreciate the time and sitting and rendezvousing with you, and really just like having a lot of really great brainstorms with everything that we went here tonight. I appreciate having you on here.
No problem, man. Anytime.
Okay, well, next time let me know you're free, and we can definitely go on ahead and see if we can make another table of contents for whatever it is that you'd like to talk about.
Will do, sir. Will do.
All right. Anybody you want us to rate?
It's up to. I'll leave that up to you, sir.
Can do. I will take us to the between Bum and the ShiraRyu. Let me go to ShiraRyu. I'll go ahead and pay the homie Poseidon a visit. I haven't rated him in a good minute. Bum will get it next time. And for those of you guys out there that also want to seek and support Jeshua, go on ahead and feel free to follow him via the Twitch and or YouTube. He has his own channel also for stuff that he uploads. That'll be featured down below in the comment section for those of you guys that want to check him out on Twitch, Steam, or YouTube. Leave a follow in order to follow him on his journeys too, via Street Fighter or Resident Evil or Marvel's Rivals also.
Definitely don't be afraid. Reach out and say hi. All right, brother. Well, you take it easy, man.
All right, Chad. I'm gonna go ahead and take us on over to ShiraRyu. You guys got my email? Spam them. Let them know where you come from. And like I always say, till all are one.
It was actually pretty fun. It was actually pretty fun looking back through a lot of GTA 5's net worth and then going across 3 different generations in order to fill that same void before GTA 6 was even in development before COVID.
I bet they started developing 6 in
from what I could peg, I really think it was 2019. That was when it actually started.
I'll buy it.
Because around because GTA 5 first came out in 2013, fourth quarter 2013. That was in the PS3 years. So if it got ported to PS4 around that time, that means that the PS4 porting probably happened 2017, 2018, if I had to guess. I didn't look at the marketing for that specifically. But that would kind of make sense that you would already take it over to next gen. That way the next gen installment would already kind of be in development or be on the book by then.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, marketing wise, it all makes sense. Now, why it's finally here in prospect, but they had the date pushed back 2 to 3 different times in order to meet the mandate that they originally quoted themselves to have the storybook done by, for all the main missions, done by the end of third quarter 2026. But they still haven't done that yet, which means that they're either getting the push from an investor or from stockholders that are investing in this game in order to push this out sooner than it's actually finished by, or there has been a weird shift or imbalance in the development team through the years since the release where it actually wasn't complete, or it wasn't even in initial concept when it was revealed, which is why everything or all the dates are amiss. And so there's a chance, and what I'm banking on is that if it does still come out, or it's being pushed, if it's pushed back to 2027, good. Take the safety. Don't get that piece of shit here incomplete for people paying $60-$70 for this shit. Or if it's going to come out at the designated time, I guarantee you 80% of that game is going to be complete, and then what else that isn't there is going to be taken out of the game and then put back in as DLC to buy for the full game purchase. And it's going to pull a half-assed Destiny.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually facts.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. They're going to pull a Destiny.
Yeah, this is facts. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if y'all was just listening to that heat.
For any questions, comments, or concerns, or input regarding what you think still needs to be done or talked about in the communities, be sure to hit me up. I'll give you my card. Reach me in my DMs via Twitter, YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram. I'll be there. Autobots, let's roll out. We got a difference to make.